On July 4th, 1997, the Pathfinder spacecraft landed successfully on Mars. The mission captured the world's imagination. But even as we watched transfixed, we realized that the images from Mars were only a small part of the story, much larger than a planet. It is a story about human achievement by a team of people known as the Pathfinder team. What they accomplished and how they did it is an important reminder that spectacular results come not just from technology, but from people. It takes a team. The story of this team starts with people like Tom Rivellini, who at 25 began to change NASA's culture. Not just with new technology, but with creativity to apply old ideas and materials to new problems to meet NASA's goals of faster, better, cheaper. Tom Rivellini's youthful enthusiasm and his new way of seeing were critical to the success of the mission. And the environment created by this extraordinary and diverse team allowed them to achieve a goal that at first seemed impossible.
How am I going to get these bags from this, big, massive airbags out here into a nice tight ball around the lander? And I came up with an idea that seemed to work, pretty good in my office. And it was very low tech, but very intuitive and very meticulous and very detail oriented.
The risks in landing on Mars without specific knowledge of the exact position, mass, and atmosphere were enormous. They were balanced only by the potential discoveries. Flight System Chief Engineer Rob Manning was more than a little skeptical when he first heard about the mission.
Came together and said, hey, let's, what we're going to do is very, very simply, we're going to take this thing onto Mars and throw this big, this entry vehicle bullet in. The parachute's going to open up. This lander's going to rappel down this long rope. And some airbags going to flight, the thing's going to hit the ground, bounce, and open up like a flower, and this rover's going to drive off. And I go, really? I thought they were nuts, actually.
A mission this complex, this untried, demanded a team which accepted the possibility of failure and were willing to put their talents and abilities on the line. Flight System Manager Brian Muirhead understood that he must create a team willing to push past human limits.
We depend so much on an individual's skill. One guy who has a problem and doesn't surface it, or who isn't really attentive to a detail, could blow the whole mission, and everybody knows that. We don't beat them up if they make a mistake. We need them to be honest. We need them to come forward.
Brian's philosophy was do it, fix it, do it again. His style blended perfectly with Donna Shirley's creative management philosophy.
How do you create creativity in a team? Well, one of the things you do is you get a diverse team. It turns out if everybody's just the same, then you're all very comfortable with each other and you're marching along and you'll overlook stuff. But if you have somebody who's different, has a different mindset or a different culture or a different background or a different set of experience or a different training, they're going to come up and they're going to say, well, what about this or what about that? And they're going to get outside the box.
Having a group of people who say, this is the goal. What can you do to make it happen? Make it happen if you can. And here's a budget. Invent what you need to invent in order to solve this problem. And amazing how people blossom.
If we just were given the luxury of taking a little bit of risk, of knowing that once in a while we could actually fail, it would be a net win, a huge win for the nation, for the information that we gather for the human race.
Here's a place right next door in our solar system. There it is, Mars, right there, that we can go and we can address a question of almost theological importance in a scientific manner. And that's a very, very special place indeed.
And the things I was, worried about with the airbags, it was clear that was going to be a problem. The aeroshell decelerates you. The parachute then gets you down to about less than 30 meters per second. And then the airbags would take you the final way.
Meanwhile, 3,000 miles across the continent, Eleanor Foraker, a seamstress known as the Betsy Ross of outer space, used her age-old low-tech skills to implement Tom Rivellini's vision.
In order to get
the spacecraft with its design for the heat shield, the parachute, all that stuff, to survive the entry, we have to make a very narrow corridor of altitude above Mars.
All this effort was critical to land the little sojourner safely on Mars, where she would become our representative, our communicator, our teacher. Sojourner learned about this future home and practiced her first shaky steps in a sandbox, a virtual Mars landscape, a place where her creators allowed her to try and fail, very much the same way they tested themselves.
This is my old friend, or even my baby sort of feeling, oh, you know, baby's leaving home kind of thing. I tend to think of it as sort of vulnerable and lonely in a way, in the sense that it's very dependent on its link with Earth, and if it gets in trouble, that's its only option, to phone home and say, help me, something has happened.
The long-anticipated day arrives.
We received an update since
Then, less than an hour before landing, a software glitch is discovered, and the team faces yet another test.
Separation. That's like the only way we can verify the patch actually made it. Comments?
Their teammate Jordan Kaplan spent years helping prepare for a safe landing, but just months before this critical day, he was killed in a small plane crash. The team had included Jordan's name with a software fix as a memorial. Now they're unsure that the program was correctly loaded. But when they see Jordan's name return, the team knows it made it, and they sense Jordan's spirit guiding them.
There it is. There we go. Yes.
There is little time for ceremony, but a quick blessing of Pathfinder is part of the team's ritual. Now, with the crew's stage separation complete, all the team can do is wait. The impact is on schedule. Now the wait for a signal begins. The wait seems endless. It tests the team once more. Their nerves, their faith in their teammates, and in themselves.
Keep your eyes glued and let us know if you see anything at all, please.
I think I have 8 sets of eyes watching it, and we don't see it.
Okay, roger.
EDLCOM, a weak signal is coming in and out of the spectrum.
So I'll do that.
EDLCOM is reported that a
Keep watching.
is barely visible.
Sammy, do you have an offset for that?
It's a very good sign, everybody.
I believe I have a firm signal.
With the lander now safely on Mars, the team releases the joy from 4 long years of intense effort. And now it is time to savor the friendships, the accomplishments, the learning, and the true spirit of human achievement they have shared. These are truly the heroes of Pathfinder, this team that made it all possible by their willingness to test themselves against the unknown. And we thank them. In the early morning silence of July 5th, the team sent their little sojourner a wake-up call, and she hurried off to converse with her new neighbors. What she teaches us about Mars will be valuable lessons, but perhaps the most important lessons are what we can learn here on Earth from the special team of people who put her there.